Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this evening training. We will give about 2 minutes for the others to log on to this training, and we will resume back at 7:02. Please be tuned. All righty. Again, good evening, and thank you for joining us for the conclusion of Unit 3 of the Growing Brain, Communication and Language Development. My name is Natasha Irise, along with my colleague, Anna Avalos Atkinson. A little bit about myself. I am a parent to begin, and I have been in the early childhood education for plus 15 years. I have taught pre-K, Head Start, and VPK classrooms. Currently, I am a coach, quality education coach with the Early Learning Coalition of Broward. I am delighted that you have joined us in this session. During my spare time, I like to sing and meditate. And I pass it on to my colleague, Anna, as she introduces herself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're definitely thankful and excited that you are here with us tonight for what we hope to be an informational and an engaging session, right, about communication and language. So my name is Anna Avalos Atkinson, and I too have been in the field for a little bit, a little over 30 years. I have been a classroom teacher, and I have had also several supervisory roles in my career. I am currently also a coach for the ELC of Broward. I do support the VPK providers directly in the classroom with their interactions with the children and everything to do with VPK. I too am a parent of 2 adult children. I love professional development, and for that reason, I applaud you for choosing to be here tonight. So with that, we will get started.
To begin, I would like for you to join in the middle of the screen between both of our pictures. You will see a quote that says, "It is a precious thing to be communicating to children, helping them discover the gift of language and thought," by Richard Scarry. Think about it, and I would like to applaud you, knowing that as an educator, caregiver, you are taking on that baton to facilitate this precious gift, to provide children with the precious gift of building language, building communication, and fostering their thinking skills and language. So thank you for the things that you do, and keep on doing the great work you do.
Hear, hear.
My screen is just froze. Hello.
Are we there?
Okay. A little bit of webinar housekeeping. Click on the orange rectangle with the white arrow pointing toward the panel to either right or the left side of your screen to open and close the panel. Click on the question triangle shown below on the panel to type any questions or comments you may have. Your certificate will be emailed to you after the training. To download the handouts that we have for you tonight, we have 4 handouts. You will click on the handout session, the handout part, and click on each handout, and a PDF file will open up and you'll be able to save it for later use on your computer or print it out. Attendance and credits. All ELC trainings are for in-service hours only. Your training certificate will be emailed to you within 24 hours after the conclusion of this webinar to the email address you've used to register for this session. In order to be marked as attended, you must log on to the computer or download GoToWebinar app on your phone. Just calling in does not register your attendance, and you will not receive a certificate or be marked as attended. If you can't see us, we can't see you. Upon registering for this webinar, you received a pre-test of 3 questions. Upon completion of this webinar, you will receive a post-test of 3 questions along with the training evaluation of 5 questions. We ask that you please complete those, and then your certificate will be emailed to you after. A little bit about 0 to 3. 0 to 3 has been in existence since 1977. 0 to 3 has advanced the proven power of nurturing relationships by transforming the science of early childhood into helpful resources, practical tools, and responsive policies for millions of parents, professionals, and policymakers. 0 to 3 plays a key role in ensuring that babies and toddlers get a strong start in life by supporting the parents with practical resources that helps them connect more positively, deeply, and continuously with their babies, professionals with knowledge and tools that helps them support healthy early development, and as policymakers and advancing comprehensive and coherent policies which support and strengthens families, caregivers, and infant toddler professionals. Their website is www.0to3.org. Please visit their website in order to see the resources that they have available. Okay, and the overview of the Growing Brain, the Growing Brain is a training curriculum for early childhood professionals. It focuses on development of children ages newborn to 5 years old. It focuses on the brain and its role on early development. It links the brain, body, and behavior. It focuses on affective neuroscience, that is the science of emotions and the brain. It addresses areas such as the structure and function of the brain, factors and experiences that affects the brain, and connections between the brain, language development, and sensory functioning. It comprises of 7 units. We have seen the base unit 1, which is the basics. Unit 2, the factors affecting brain growth and development. Unit 3 is connection and communication and language development. Unit 4, cognitive and executive functions. 5, social emotional development. 6, understanding behavior. 7, everyday play. Today's session will focus on Unit 3, which covers communication and language development. And our focus today is communication milestones from 3 to 5 years old. Last week, we saw from birth to 3 years old. And our learning objectives is understanding communication milestones in children from 3 to 5 years old. And also, we will review strategies for supporting language skills in young children. And third, we will understand multilingual learners. Now, if you've been with us in the past, you know that after finishing each session or each unit, we usually have a reflection activity. And last week, when we ended the session, we provided you with this reflective activity. This word cloud really spoke the words of communication, and we say, what is it that you were able to what from this word cloud you will use within the week, and how it will reflect, which word did you choose, and how it will reflect how you interact with children and your care during the week. So in the chat, well, I would like to, I welcome you to share with us which word did you choose, and how did it help you this week? Were you mindful to communicate intentionally? Were you mindful to use complete sentences when talking to the children in your care? Did you promote taking turns, for example? So please take the minute to share with us, and what did you do differently after viewing our last session? Anything has been said?
Well, I see listening, focusing on listening to the children and watching their cues, which we did talk about last week.
Yes.
Oh, reading more stories. Children
Oh,
love
wow. Reading
mm-hmm.
most.
Oh, yeah, I see body language as well.
Reading
In
cues.
mindful, right. Oh, I see facial expressions. Yes. And playing with them. Okay, playing with the students, right? That interaction, that engagement, right? That sometimes words don't even have to be said, right?
Yes. Okay, so thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for we know that once we provide the knowledge, and it's a lot of the things that you are doing, we're just bringing the awareness of what is it that you are doing, the great work you are doing, and being mindful of it. And thank you for taking back those things and then implementing them in your classroom and being more mindful. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, to begin our poll, we're gonna review what happened last week. Last week we also talked about the 30 million word gap. We showed a video. We talked about the research of the 30 million gap for those of you who were with us, and how interaction affects the vocabulary and the building vocabulary that we are doing with children on a daily basis. So to answer the poll, and the question is, in recent studies based on the 30 million word gap, we learned that what matters most when exposing children to language was A, the number of words an adult speaks to a child, B, the number of words a child speaks to an adult, or C, the number of conversational turn the child engaged in. So please take a minute to answer the poll question for us to see really to continue on with our webinar this evening. So it is lunch. Are you guys voting?
Some people are voting. Come on, everyone, please vote.
Please
We want to
participate
know
and vote for us.
This is a great recap of
Mm-hmm.
a very important topic we touched on last week. Excellent. Lots of people
Okay.
are voting. If
Okay.
you can't see the poll on your screen, you can put in the chat which one you think is the correct one. Okay, I think we're going to give it just 2 more seconds and we're going to close. Ready? Ready for the results? I think you'll be
I'm ready.
surprised.
I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see.
All righty, here we go. I'm going to close and I'm going to share.
Yay! Thank you for participating in our poll. And yes, 47% have voted that the number of conversational turn and a child engages, that's what matters, right? That's what brings the build on vocabulary. And 38% have voted 1 as the answer, and 15% has voted question number 2 would be the answer. So we know the adult conversation is important. We also know that the child conversation is also important. But we know that in order to narrow the gap, the word gap, there has to be conversational turn, allowing children to take turn and then having that back and forth that needs to happen. Because if we are talking and there's no conversation, there's nothing, there's no learning happening. It's just words. So again, thank you. And the answer is C.
The number of conversational turns. The
Yes,
challenge
that
is
takes place.
awesome.
That's how we're going to be able to narrow the gap.
That's right.
Okay. So, and to what more can we do? What better example we're gonna show by showing this video that's it's a viral video of, I'm sure most of you have watched it, the viral video of the baby talking with his dad. And I know it's gonna melt your heart, but listen and watch what happened as that toddler hold a conversation with his father.
All right, there we go.
All righty. So isn't that an amazing video that really portrayed conversation
I
between a
love it. I love
yes
it.
and an adult?
Yeah, it's very funny and it's so cute how, you know, what you just said about the conversational turns, right? What the question on the poll was. And this is exactly what we're talking about, right? Pausing and, you know, he would pause and look at the child and the child would respond, and then it was just amazing. It was a real conversation taking place.
It is a real conversation. And notice how at time he would point his finger, and other time he would point his hand, and all these gesture mean something. And it's like, and sometimes he put his hands up, and then he was like expressing, communicating through his hands, through his eyes, through his, like the whole body. And the father follow along, and then putting words, adding words to what, um, whatever he was saying. And
Right.
and how he knew when to pause after the dad spoke, and he waited, and he took the turn taking, and that's the conversation. That's what's building words and building vocabulary. That's what happens when conversation like this happens.
Right.
And
It's awesome. Great
anything,
example.
anything
Ladies,
you guys?
there's been
Yes.
a request for the link to the video. Everybody loves it and they think it is so cute and so appropriate to share, and they would love the link.
Great. So we can make that happen. The link is actually, this is the link that's on the slide right now. If you wish to take a picture of it, that is the link to the actual YouTube video. It has, I think, over 150 million views because it's so cute, and they actually became famous. The dad had been on interviews on TV and everything, so it's pretty amazing. I think it touches you, you know, in a real special way,
Mhm.
especially us teachers working with young children. So absolutely.
Thank you, Anne.
All righty. Glad the participants enjoyed it as well.
Enjoy this video. Yes, we did. So in order to, so receptive language milestone, we are going through the milestone for preschoolers, children from 3 to 5 years old. Then we will shift gears into spending most of our time focusing on research-informed strategies for supporting communication skills from 3 to 5 years old. As we've reviewed the milestone in this age range, you will see that there's a fine tuning and deepen of the skills that have developed up to this point. Remember, we talked about from 0 to 3. Now we're moving from 3 to 5. And it's good to note that we do have the language milestone handout for you to download, so you can follow along, and you can also use it in your classroom when planning lessons, using the milestone to know what to look for. For example, here's what language comprehension looks like with a 2.5 years old. Children follow 3 steps instructions. They are able to follow 3 steps instruction, identify most common object and their pictures. Like if you show them a picture of a ball, dog, whatever object, simple object, they are able to define what is it, understand term for family relationships such as grandfather, aunt, and or cousins or brother. Understand words for basic shapes like circle, square, triangle. Those basic shapes, they are able to understand them and know them. Understand descriptive words such as soft, bumpy, scratchy. They are able to understand spatial descriptors such as in front of, behind me, next to, or come sit next to me. You hear your 3-year-old always in the classroom say, "Come sit next to me. I have the seat for you." Like understand how many and who questions, how many and who questions, and they also able to have like build complete sentences and small complete sentences as well. Continue on with receptive language milestone. Communication milestone handout. Again, you can have that and look at as each age group and what is it that you are looking for the 3-year-old. They respond to when you are calling them from one room to another. They understand some colors like blue, red, the basic colors, and they are able to differentiate between shapes and putting them together, or sorting them and creating, putting them where they belong and placing them and categorizing shapes as well. Expressive language milestone at from 3 years old. Children are able to use but and because when they are using their sentences, using sentences using gender, knowing their gender, their age, they are easily able to say, okay, I'm 4 years old, I'm a girl, you're a boy. Use pronoun and possessive to ask for things, and able to ask question, is this mine, or do I, questions, those type of questions, they are able to put together. Give me a minute because my screen is froze on my end, Anna.
All right.
Okay. I can resume now. My screen got froze. Okay. And they are able to do complete simple math skill by counting numbers from fingers, 1, 2, 3 skill, and those they are able to do. And some additional things that a 3.5 can do, they are able to answer simple who, what question, and where questions, saying the rhyme word, bat, cat, mat, bat. Those they are able to do that. And then if you build on, they are able to catch on, use pronoun like I, you, me, we, and they. They also are able to use plural like toys, birds, buses in the right way. Most people understand what they are saying. Ask when and how questions. They put forwards together, may make some mistakes, like I go to school, and talks about what happened during the day, explaining what happened first in small sentences, up to 4 at a time. At 4 years of age, a typical receptive language milestone includes an understanding of opposites, an understanding of time concepts such as before and after, and or yesterday and today. They are also able to identify primary colors, like we saying I'm building the primary colors, red, green, yellow, blue. The ability to understand how and when questions. Expressive language milestones also include asking when, why, and how questions. When you ask them and they are able to answer it, but they're also able to ask that question using regular past tense, such as adding ed to make it past tense. Fixed. Children at that age are able to do all irregular past tense verb correctly using like fell, broke. Communication milestone by 4 years old. Children are able to use basic grammar, such as correctly using his or her, he or she, use being able to do the sing along, saying poem, and the finger play, Itsy Bitsy Spider. They are able to do it by themselves, and being able to sing song, The Wheels on the Bus, and retell stories. And they can say their first and last name, able to, when you ask them what's your first name and last name, they're able to say my name is, and saying both names. By 5 years of age, children are fully fluent and understanding common familiar words that are used in their families and other environment where they spend their time. They are typically able to carry on conversation with ease. Receptive skills include being able to understand approximately 3,000 words, understand some more or less words, being able to respond to what happened if. So when you're having a conversation, you say, what happened if I add this to that? They are able to provide you with the hypothesis of what will happen. Expressive skills by 5 years old is typically including the ability to retell a story in sequence, what happened first, and then next, and then what happened at the end. They are able to tell you. They are able to describe how to do something, such as play a simple game, duck, duck, goose. So if you're outside playing, they are playing, and then you can ask the 5-year-old to explain how the game goes. They are able to start from finish to explain to another child how the game goes. Give description to past experience. Pretty much explain to you what happened when such and such happened. They are able to do so. Produce simple rhyming words. Ask question about how another person feels. What makes you, why do you feel that are you happy? Are you sad? And ask those type of questions. They are able to answer questions about stories, produce a longer, more complex and grammatically correct sentences. And they also enjoy arguing, debating, and reasoning. Why? So, for example, why are you sitting here? Because yesterday I sat here, and this is my seat. And remember, this is in providing the debating and reasoning why something happened. They use relational words such as first, then, and next. So just take a minute. You can imagine a picture of a child or children in your classroom and how they communicate. Can you picture how they are using these specific skills as they communicate? And while you imagine, who can also think about the child or the children who are not yet able to do what we just mentioned, because we know children develop differently in a different ways, right? So we have to be able to know where each child is individually. So when we plan lessons, we plan to be able to move the child from one level to the next. So as you're planning and you imagine, that keep in mind the ones that are able and the ones that are not able yet. Reach the milestone, has not yet reached the milestone. So communication milestone by 5 years old will continue. Here are some more communication milestone we're going to talk about. Receptive communication. Follow children 5-year-olds follow longer direction. Put your pajamas on, brush your teeth, and then pick out a book. So they can follow 3 steps or 4 steps direction. They can follow classroom direction, like draw a circle on your paper around something that you have eaten. So they'll be able to, after eating, say, okay, I have eaten this, and then they can draw a circle. Or hears and understand most of what she hears at home and in school, able to comprehend what is it that they hear. Expressive communication, they are able to name letters and numbers, use sentences that have more than one action words, like jump, play, and get. They make some mistake, like Zach got, for example, say Zach got 2 video games, but I got 1. Gots is the but they are able to do that with some mistake, of course. Tells a short story, keep a conversation going. They are able to keep, and we know when you have a 5-year-old talk, get your 5-year-old talk, they do talk. Talks in different ways depending on the listener and place. Your child may use short sentences with younger children, or they may talk louder outside and speak softer inside. So they are able to differentiate. Imagine for a minute, again, imagine for a minute when you're doing that, a picture of your classroom. Who in your classroom are able to do that? And once you do that, you also imagine who in your classroom who's not yet there, and how do you plan to get those children to that specific goal in mind. And think about the things that adults can do within the strategies to support young children in mastering communication skills. We want to start with some overarching principles to keep in mind that can provide a nice guide or roadmap. First, when you are with a child or with the group of children, you want to tune in. Pay attention to what the child or children are interested in. Enjoy or what trying to show you, what they are enjoying and what they are trying to tell you. You need to pay attention. And that way you'll be able to talk more using rich descriptive language to connect with children around you daily and during the daily routine experiences, objects they are using, animals and people in their environment, and engage in the activity they enjoy. So you are able to provide label that object to describe what is it that they are doing, because once you pay attention, you're able to talk about it and providing them with information. And then it requires that you take turns, that you allow them to take turn. And for them to take turn, it requires for you to talk less, like pause, and provide the children the opportunity to ask questions, clarify, and add to your communication, or respond to another way by keep the take turn going. Like they say something and then you continue and you ask question, and then you provoke them to continue on the conversation until they are no longer interested on whatever that they were interested on before.
Kind of like the little boy in the video, right, Natasha?
Yes, yes. As you can see, the adult is holding something in her hand, and I guess that's something that he probably was already interested in. And then she took it on by taking turn and then having that conversation. You can see he's interested in it. She tuned in. She probably adding words and describing what's happening, and then taking turn by allowing the child to talk and then asking question and continue on. Thank you, Anna. So a little bit about the 3 T's. Again, you're gonna watch a video about the 3 T's, and that's one of the initiative that the Early Learning Coalition is being part of. And if you need more information after watching this video, on our website, you'll see the 3 T's, which is tune in, talk more, and take turn. Let's let the video pretty much provide you with the information, and we'll come back and talk about it. All righty, thank you, Anna. So tune in, talk more, take turn. Just keep that in mind. It's really how we show children that we are interested in them. We are interested in what is it that they are interested in. So we know as adult, and we talked about that before, as adult, once you are interested in what I'm interested in, you're my friend, and we can have a conversation and we can grow within that conversation. So if you're not tuned in to be able to see and to understand what interests them, then you'll miss a moment. We ask them to be intentional, to really tune in to what is it that they like, and then take turn and providing words and providing vocabulary and having that conversation. Anything else you want to say, Anna?
No, that's it. Just inviting everyone to log into the ELC Broward website to get more information on the initiative that we are involved in now with the community. So it's a great resource for teachers and parents alike.
And yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. Also, as teachers, I know you are doing it, and we're just reminding you to do it more often. But also invite parents to view this video in order for them to see how it's done, and to cultivate and to move on to the next. We have another video of the 3 T's. This one pretty much goes into detail, and that we will watch next, and showing how the parent did the 3T steps.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here we go.
So it's as simple as that. You tune in, and that's what mom did. She noticed that the child was interested in the doctor kit, and she asked the question, "Did you go to the doctor?" And that was the beginning of the conversation. And then they took turn in having answering question and complimenting her on being a good doctor. She did that, and then it continued, even though she didn't say much, but the conversation continued because she was interested in it.
Right. Right, exactly. So the little girl's vocabulary is not that extensive, but still,
Yeah.
she's communicating, right? Just like the little
Yes.
boy in the first video, he was communicating with the dad, kind of the same thing. So that back and forth engagement, that back and forth exchange is what we're talking about.
Yes. So let's continue with the strategy and contingent, that is contingent responses. Research has found that there are specific strategies we can use that appears to facilitate children's language acquisition and development in the years before school. The first strategy is to use contingent responses. And what is that? It is the response that we provide to children as they say something, and then we answer as it relates to what, and building on to the statement that they are saying to you. it is the statement that either matches or tune in to the children's current level of communication. Keep that in mind, that we need to be mindful of the current level of communication. Notice on the previous video, we saw that we know that the child was not communicating much, so the mom used language that the child is able to understand. We're gonna have a chat conversation, so on the chat box, just imagine on a field trip that to a local supermarket that a 4-year-old point to an eggplant, and we know that an eggplant is a long oval purple colored vegetable, and the child asks, "What's that? A purple tomato?" So what might you say as a contingent response to the question? Please share with us in the chat box. What might you say?
Okay, so keep in
Anyone?
mind that we're building. Mhm.
Yes.
So one person says to tell the child what it is. It's an eggplant.
Yes. So it's an eggplant, but remember she said purple, right? So we're going to continue on building. It is it is a vegetable. It is purple. It is yeah, shape is oval,
Okay,
and
yeah.
but it's a potato. I mean,
Or the participant
potato
said
because the potato is brown.
to ask them the color, right, of the tomato or potato, and just just asking them a question. What color is it?
Oh, the participant says just to ask the color.
What color? Yeah.
Okay.
Another one says that to say it's an eggplant, right? So
Yes. So you might go to that route and ask what color is it to make in comparison to from the potato to the eggplant. However, with that one, we might want to provide information because they may not yet able to submit do the comparison just because of we don't want to just tell them the color different. We want them to learn more about that it is a vegetable, that it is oval, that within the shape, and yes, the color is different. And comparing the eggplant to the potato, you might see the shape the same being oval, but we providing more words instead of just asking what color is this and what. So we want to build more by describing what the first thing is and then moving on to what the child has to have the child come up to the decision and say, okay, this is a potato, is brown, and then making the comparison.
right. I have a participant that says using comparisons. Excellent.
Yes.
Asking
Yes.
where they grow, and certainly increase vocabulary. Awesome. They got
Yes.
it, Natasha. They
Thank
got it.
you. Thank you guys for participating.
Absolutely.
So continue on with contingent responses. Follow a child lead and provide additional information and language related to what they are interested in. And research a related concept is called maternal responsiveness, and describe how a parent is able to follow her young child's lead and provide additional information and support around the child's interests, including description, play, and imitation. So interestingly is that maternal responsiveness with children as young as 1 year old has been found to predict children's later achievement of language milestone. So we know that it is said that maternal sensitivity is a mother's ability to perceive and infer and to perceive and infer the meaning behind what the infant is behaving and signaling in response to them promptly and appropriately. Also, maternal sensitivity has been found to affect the person's psychologically even as an adult. So Anna and I, we were joking earlier, and we say, yes, we thank you for giving us that maternal instinct that we do have, to be able to understand, or to be sensitive to what is it that the child is doing, and being able to guide. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to add to this one, Mother
Yeah, the
Anna?
maternity. Yeah, it helps build on that connection, right? That bond that we
Yeah.
have with the children. And so as early childhood teachers or professionals, we have that connection with the little ones, the little kiddos in the room, right? So yeah, that's what we're talking about, being maternal, having that sensitivity, having that instinct, if you will. So a lot of us have that nurturing quality, right? So yeah, we were talking about that earlier. So we are grateful for that.
So another strategy we talk about is to follow the child's attentional lead, and which involve adult labeling, describing, and connecting of objects and or events. That's one of the way we can, that's one of the strategies we can use. A child is currently showing interest and engaging in, imagine that child playing with the doll, and then you're able to pretty much ask that child, and you might say, I see that you are playing with that doll. I'm helping the child, mother doll is helping the child to put the child to sleep, and or to cuddle, is cuddling with the child and then with the doll. So you might say that the mother is nice, just like the mother used earlier on the video, how to communicate and provide support and providing words to the role play that's happening. The next strategy is really following the child's lead, is really take a minute to think and share. The think and share is, you see a 2-year-old playing with like on this picture, this 2-year-old is putting the blocks inside the block shape, right? As she plays with that, trying to put it together, something happened, and then the child is not able to put it. And what would you say? What would you say helping and not having to go over there to change, to put the block in for her, but what would you say to that child to be able to guide that child into putting the block exactly where the child has to put it? So share with us in a chat box. What would you say? Thank you for sharing. So someone said that if they are trying to putting in, they'll correctly open the sorter by might saying, I wonder if, yes, you probably use the I wonder statement, saying, if you turn it this way, if you turn it to the right, if you turn it to the left, it will fit, it will get into the position that you wanted to put it, right? Remember, the goal is to name the object or describe the action that a child might take in a non-intrusive way, meaning you're not completely taking over the activity the child is doing. You're providing information in the context so the child continue to play do whatever that he or she is interested in doing. Expansion and recast are two other strategies that you are probably already using quite a bit in the classroom. Expansion are when adults respond to the child's statement with a longer, more complex statement. For example, a child might say, dog, woof. You could respond and expand to the child saying, yes, exactly. The dog is barking loudly. Woof, woof. Excuse me. The key feature is that the adult maintain the child's meaning while modifying one or more aspect of the child's meaning. Original statement to provide the more complex model. So the sentence remained, the intent remained the same, but the sentence become longer by adding a complete sentence. Recasting, on the other hand, are strategies in which adult responds to a language error by repeating the child's statement in a corrected form. For example, a child proudly says that her shoes are on the feet. Her shoes are on her feet. What might you say, right? You might say, yes, your red shiny sneakers are on your feet. So we didn't say, no, you don't say feet, we say feet. You say, oh, your red shiny sneaker are on your feet. That way the child already is getting the proper way of saying it. The adult models the appropriate way of saying the statement instead of pretty much correcting the child. Again, another example is that I go to the store with my dad. What might be a way to recast that sentence? Anna?
Well, you could turn it around and say a question. Say, oh, you went to the store with daddy,
Yes.
right? Or did you go to the store with daddy? Or do you want to go to the store with daddy? I mean, you could say it in different ways. So that would be a different approach.
Yes, so it's a different approach. The same way you're not correcting the sentence, but you are either making the statement properly or asking a question. Remember, recasts do not put the spotlight on the errors that the child make, which can be discouraging. And as a child, and stopping the child from attempting to communicate. Instead, recast provides correct example in the context of ongoing conversation. And that's what we want to do. We want to foster that. We don't want children to feel embarrassed or not, to share or to have a conversation, or discouraged to have conversation with you as an adult. We want to encourage that to happen.
Mhm. Excellent.
Share reading is another strategy. Research has found that high quality communication using rich descriptive language with children helps build their expressive language skills. Ongoing research also shows that frequent share reading with young children helps to build their language skills. It can help to teach children the meaning of words that appears in the books that you share. Research shows that this is important for comprehension as it helps children focus on the storyline. You can also seamlessly teach new vocabulary as you read books with children. For example, when reading about Goldilocks with the three bear, you might tell the children that when you get to the word porridge, that porridge is what? It's something that we eat, such as oatmeal or hot cereal. Before sharing a book with children, you might think about questions that you might ask that will help them to engage in the story that you are reading out loud. It also, those questions can be asked about the illustrations and what they are seeing. What do you think is happening? Pause to let children complete a refrain or repetitive phrase that appears throughout the book. It also asks the children to think about what is going to happen next based on the illustration, or ask how a particular character is feeling or what he should be doing next. So these are the questions that you may consider asking. Questions like these help children to think about what's happening in the story and give them the skills they need to become good readers. These questions encourage children to make sense of the story. They learn the language of the story and talk about it and on their own word, on their own words. Okay. So you may say, why use share reading? We learned that share reading provides struggled readers with necessary support. It also is a predictable text that can build sight words, knowledge of reading fluency. It allows students to enjoy material that they may not be able to read on their own. It ensures that all students feel successful by providing support to the entire group, because we know when we do share reading, we usually do it with a large group, right? A smaller group, depending on your ratio. Share reading is an interactive reading experience that occurs when students join in or share the reading of a book or other text while guided and supported by a teacher. The teacher explicitly models the skills of proficient readers, including reading with fluency and expressions. They the share reading model use the big book, like the oversized book, the big, which we usually call in the classroom the big book, and large print and illustration. So, and a good thing about when I used to be in the class is how children during work time would go and use a big book themselves, and then having other children and role play share reading. So that's what you want to see happening in the classroom as well. And next, at this time, we will be watching a video. It's called A Window to the World Promoting Early Language and Literacy Development. This book really recap everything in regards to early literacy and how important it is with in building language communication, and how once we watch this video, take notes, and then we will resume back. When we come back, we'll talk about it. Thank you, Anna.
Welcome.
So again, this video pretty much recasts everything that we have discussed thus far, how important that early literacy for infants from 0, how important that age group is, the time is important to foster early literacy and promote education not only for the children, but also being as an educator is our job also to also help parents, right, Anna? To providing them with the tool they need to be able to help their children at home as well, because we know that it's a community.
Right.
And I like the fact that it talked about the positive relationship that we build. Through the relationship, we build trust, and through the trust, we build something that is in children that we build confidence that they are able to do anything and really take on the challenge of learning and then keep on trying, and they fall and keep on trying because they trust that we are right there with them as they go through that phase in life. And the investment, it is a great return investment when we invest in children. The things that we do as coach, as teachers, it's a great investment in our future.
So the best, the highest
The
return
best, the highest return, yes.
investment. Exactly. And just to add to what Natasha just said, this is a 0 to 3 video that is from their website. It's a little bit old, a couple years old. That's why it's a little grainy. So we apologize for that. Excuse me. But I think it does send a very powerful message. I feel empowered every time I see this
Yes.
video because of
Yes.
all the wonderful things that, early childhood professionals do with the children in the classroom, laying that foundation.
Yes. And as educators, and we know that in the field that we choose as teachers, as caregiver, we know is that investment that give us the boost up and the strength to carry on every day and say, okay, we go back to work and do the best we can, knowing that we are taking part of a thing bigger than us. And I pass on the baton to you, my friend, my colleague, my mentor. Take it on, Anna.
Thank you so much.
Did I choke you up?
My throat. I'm all choked up. No,
Okay.
seriously.
It's all good. It's all good.
No, thank you. So, thank you, Natasha, for sharing all that great information with us about strategies that we can use in the classroom and that we can also share with the parents on how they can help the children improve their communication skills. And also sharing the communication milestones in the beginning of the session. So thank you for that. So now that we're going to shift our focus to what we identify as multi-language learners. And multi-language learners are children learning 2 or more languages at the same time, as well as those learning a second language while continuing to develop their first or their home language. What are some of the languages used by your families? We just want to invite you to quickly share with us on the chat. What are some of the different languages in your program? We know that, South Florida is a melting pot of cultures, very diverse community. So I know that some people are sharing, okay, so Spanish, Haitian Creole, Portuguese, some Chinese. So interesting.
And French too.
Yeah, all French, yes. So it sounds as though you all are working with very diverse populations. So this objective may provide a new understanding of and a better appreciation for the process of learning 2 languages simultaneously. There are many developmental benefits to learning 2 languages at an early age. In addition to becoming familiar with more than one language at the time the brain is optimally prepared for language learning. These benefits include improved executive functioning skills. And for those of you who have joined us for the last few sessions, that term might sound familiar, including the ability to think flexibly, to demonstrate self-control, to focus attention, and to tune out any distractions. Other research has found that bilingual children have better working memory also than children who speak only one language. Working memory holds, processes, and updates information over short periods of time and is very important for problem solving and executive functions. Just as a heads up, the next unit, Unit 4, is on executive functions. So the differences between bilingual and single language speakers exist even at the neural level. Research has found that the patterns of brain response of bilingual infants to speech are different from those of infants whose families speak only one language. Bilingual children show continuous improvement in discriminating between two languages. For example, Spanish and English, from 9 months old onward. Increased exposure to both languages seems to be related to an improved ability to discriminate between the two. These bilingual neural responses extend into the prefrontal and orbitofrontal cortex, which may be related to the executive function benefits mentioned earlier. So we're going to talk a little bit about what multilanguage learners' early communication skills look like. Okay, so the following are going to be statements that I'm going to read to you all. And the idea is for you to listen to the statement and respond in the chat box whether you think the statements are true or false. Are we ready? We ready, Natasha?
I'm ready.
All righty, here we go. Statement number 1. Babies are born with the ability to distinguish the unique sounds of any language in the world. All right, everybody, do you all think that this is true? Or do you think that it's false? Okay, I have someone that says it's false. Someone else says it's true. All right, just think about it for a little bit. All right, another false. Okay.
True.
Let's
Yes, we have choose.
All righty, let's find out, everyone. Ready? Yes, the statement is true.
It's true.
Good job.
Yay.
However, while research shows children are born with the ability to distinguish the sounds of any language, they begin to lose this ability beginning at about 8 months. At this time, infants' brains start making connections necessary to recognize and learn the language they're exposed to most frequently. And they lose the ability to perceive sounds they have not ever heard. For example, Japanese children who never hear the R sound in their first year of life lose the ability to make the R sound as they grow, just as their parents also cannot make that sound. Interesting, huh? Did you know that, Natasha?
Very much. So next time I see a Japanese person, I'll probably go like with my R to remind me, like,
it's hard for them. Yeah, if they've not been exposed to that sound, then
Yes, it's not part of their language. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
All righty. Statement number 2. Ready? Exposure to more than one language in the early years causes confusion for young children. What do we think about that? True or false? Please share in the chat box. Okay, false, false. False. I think they're catching on. I think everybody's catching on. Can't fool them. Well, we got a true and another false. Are we ready? Ta-da! This is false, everyone. Studies have shown that children who learn 2 languages simultaneously are not confused and, in fact, reach language milestones in a similar time frame to those of children who learn only one language. Who knew? However, it will typically take multi-language learners longer to develop proficiency in both languages because they are building and using 2 separate language systems. Isn't the brain fascinating, Natasha?
Very, very.
All right. Okay, I think they're getting the hang of it. Here we go. Statement number 3. Young children who are learning 2 languages typically have a smaller vocabulary than their peers who are learning only 1 language. This
Let's
one's
see.
to be tough. True or false? What's everybody saying?
We have false.
Okay, true,
False. We have a
false.
lot of
Ooh, lots of false.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of falses. Okay. Woo.
Yes.
All right. I can't fool them. I tried, Natasha. I
You
tried.
know, you've done a great job. You've done a great job.
Here we go. It's false, everyone.
Yes.
A recent examination of the research on multi-language learners found that while they may develop smaller vocabularies in each language, if children's vocabularies in both languages are combined, the total number of words a multi-language learner knows is usually comparable to that of their single language peers. You see there? So there's no limit. No limits. Good job, everyone. Let's keep going. Next statement, true or false? Using words from both languages in the same sentence is a normal part of multi-language development. I think this is an easy one. I think they'll get this one. What do you think, Natasha?
That one is a giveaway.
I think so. Can't fool them
Yes,
on
you guys.
this one.
True.
Yeah, true.
Yes, that's a giveaway.
Well, let's find out. Maybe it's a trick question. Nah, no trick question here.
Nah.
The statement is true. Indeed, children learning a second language or 2 languages simultaneously will often code switch from one language to the other. Using both languages in the same sentence is not evidence of a problem in the language learning process. Instead, this shows that children understand the grammatical rules of both languages. Pretty cool.
We
Children
didn't know
typically
it had the vocabulary. Code
right,
switch.
exactly.
Yeah,
They can just switch it from one to the other. Children
Ladies, I think I'm still code switching.
Oh. How is that?
Yes.
How funny.
It's called Spanglish, but I'm code switching still.
Well, I was gonna say, and we were having a conversation earlier, Natasha and I. So, you know, a lot of adults even do this, right? Who are multi-language speakers, and you know, and some parents do worry when they hear their children kind of, switching right back and forth from Spanish to English, for example. But it's perfectly normal, and
It's
it is
okay.
part of the
It is
language
okay
learning
to
process.
switch.
So children
And
typically
for
use
me, sometimes when my kids code switch, I find it fascinating. I'm like, whoa, that's
yeah,
good. You feel
yeah,
in the same senses. Yeah, I like it.
exactly. So children typically use this strategy to clarify their meaning and message in a grammatically correct manner. So after all, if a multi-language learner does not know the relevant word in the language in which she's speaking, the logical thing to do is to substitute the word in the other language to communicate the meaning she is intending to convey. The idea is to get the point across, right? That's what
Yes.
matters. All right, let's keep going. This statement says, when learning 2 languages, it doesn't matter how much of each language the child is exposed to, as long as the child hears words in both languages each day. I don't know about this one.
That's a tricky one.
Nah, that could be a tricky one. Let's see what the participants are saying on this one. True. Oh, I see false, true. True. Okay, well, I think I got him on this one, Natasha.
Yes, you
This may be
did.
the one that I'm getting them on.
That's
Yeah, this is actually false, right?
yes.
So for children to develop proficiency over the long term in both languages, they need to have a consistent, equivalent, rich language experience in both languages. In the past, experts advised that one parent speak one language to the child consistently while the other parent speak the second language consistently. However, research tells us that we don't need to be so rigid, and that the one parent language approach is not particularly effective in raising bilingual children. What is most important when raising multi-language learners is that children have roughly the same exposure to high quality input in each language, each day, speaking and listening. So keep in mind that in many cases, one language does become dominant in a child's life. For example, if a child is learning Spanish as well as English, English may become the child's dominant language if that is what he hears all day at school and at preschool. So this is also why it's so important for parents to use the home language as much as possible around their children if the goal is for them to be bilingual. This maximizes the likelihood that children will be exposed to the rich, high quality descriptive language that we know supports language development. So a fluent foundation in their home language will help children in learning English as well. And this is a very important message to share with our parents, because I know some Spanish-speaking parents don't want their children to be spoken to in Spanish. They want to, make sure that they speak to them in English all the time. But that's not necessarily, good. I mean, the foundation language will always be there. That home language is really necessary for that English learning to take place. That's a good message to share with our parents. Next statement says, children with a language delay or impairment have greater difficulty if they are multi-language learners. Is this true or false?
That's a tricky one too.
I think so. What is everyone saying?
We'll see
True?
if they caught up to
True?
us.
Okay, I see some trues. Oh, one false. Couple of trues, couple of falses. Okay, it's like a
Easy.
it's like a split here. It's false. Research on bilingual students with language challenges shows that these children are still able to acquire proficiency in both languages in mastering any language. For example, if they have difficulty with language processing, they will have that challenge in both English and in Spanish. Okay. And then the final statement says, the earlier that a child is exposed to a second language, the better the child is likely to become in speaking it. This is easy, I think, Natasha.
That's an easy one. That's a
Yeah.
giveaway. You had 2 giveaways.
Yeah, another giveaway. I made it too easy this time. Yeah, everybody's saying true.
Yes.
True, all the way
It
down.
is.
Okay. All right. It's true, everyone. Studies show a clear
Earlier.
relationship between the age of exposure to a language and a child's success in learning in that language. The greatest success in learning a second language is seen in people who are exposed to that language in infancy or early childhood. So that means that the older a child is when exposed to that language for the first time, the less skilled that child is expected to become. So in short, the earlier is the better. Okay, when we're talking about exposing children to different languages. All right, so we're kind of pressed for time. Do we have time to see this video, Natasha, on the benefits of the bilingual brain?
We do.
What do you think? I don't want to.
We do.
Okay,
It's
just a couple
important.
of minutes, okay? Okay, yeah, it is an important video. Okay, so we're going to share it real quick and then we'll talk about it on the other side. information in that video. It's so interesting, huh, Natasha? A lot of good
Yes,
stuff in there.
I'm gonna
A lot of
flip from
recap of what,
bonjour to hola.
right? We need to, because you said at the end that, you know, even adults, if you're not a multi-language learner right now, you can still do it, right? You can still
Yes,
have a healthier brain. Yeah,
the
it does
benefits.
make your yeah, lots of benefits if it's actively engaged. So, you know, there's still time, everyone who is not a multi-language learner. You can still do it. It is never too late. So interesting of how, you know, it talks about the different areas of the brain that are affected. And so again, another really good a recap and way to kind of connect everything that we discussed here tonight. So hope you all enjoyed that
Someone
that
also made a
video.
statement about the plasticity of our brain. That's
Right.
awesome.
Someone just made a comment on the chat. That's why we all have a brain very
Yes,
plastic, right? Plasticity,
yes.
right? Someone says they loved it. They we are lucky. Someone stated that we are lucky. Yeah, the brain is amazing, right? All the things that it can do.
Hmm.
So I know that we are pressed for time, and we appreciate you staying on with us. We are just about done, just a couple more slides just to sum up what we've spoken about today. Children learn best when they are exposed to multiple languages as early as possible, and when they receive consistent high quality language experiences in both languages. So some ways that we can support this, just adding some, learning some caregiving words that we can add to our conversation in the child's native language, definitely modeling ways for them to enter, play with their peers, pre-teaching key vocabulary words so that they can understand and participate in activities, such as, you know, regular routines and story time or circle time. Make connections with words in English and words in Spanish that may sound the same or have the beginning sounds that are similar. Those are called cognates. Definitely labeling objects and locations in the room in different languages so that the child can feel connected and like he belongs. And also pulling in the parents into the conversation, inviting them to read stories in the class, sharing some of their cultural events or information they can share with the children, bringing foods from home, for example, showing the children how to play different games from their culture. And so, again, also seeking books that the children can better understand, you know, ways of communicating. And so, with this, we finally get to the key messages of today's session. Again, remember, this is the second part of Unit 3. This is the um, the culmination, I guess, if you will, of what we started last week. And so we have covered a lot of information, covered a lot of ground. So the key messages are that adults have a critical role to play in supporting early communication development through that back and forth interaction with children, beginning from birth. Communication begins with observation, noticing babies and young children's cues and nonverbal communications, like we spoke about last time, and we saw that baby earlier in the video. And knowing that is a critical component of caring for young children and also an integral part of supporting their communication skills. We have to build on, expand, and extend the children's language like we saw today for children 3 to 5 to help them develop more mature and complex communication abilities over time. And then finally, for multi-language learners, this type of rich back and forth communication should be happening equivalently in both languages. So before we part, we leave you with a reflection activity as we do every session. And in this case, we are sharing a quote, and it reads, "The biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand, we listen to reply." So we want you to kind of think about this from now until next time we meet, which will be in November for Unit 4. And we are going to begin that session with this quote to kind of recap to see, you know, what you thought about during the time that we're apart. You know, what does this mean? The biggest communication problem is that, you know, sometimes we don't listen to understand. We just listen to make a statement or to answer, right? When sometimes we just have to listen. We just have to listen. We just have to be that ear, right? Whether to children or to adults. But think about that, how how this quote resonates with you. And we'll share that next time around. Some resources. Again, there's tons of information found on the web. These are some really good resources on literacy and language development that you can pick up or read on. And these are the resources links that we use for this particular webinar. Of course, 0 to 3 being number 1. YouTube for some of the videos, Wikipedia for some of the definitions we use. Also, the 30 Million Word Center based out of the University of Chicago. Read Brightly has some really great information for parents that you can log into and share. You can download a lot of things. And also Reading Rockets and ASHA.org. Okay, so again, we are sharing all these links, and there's other links, of course, that you can find tons of information online to help you find some strategies to encourage children's language development. Again, really quickly, 0 to 3, of course, some of the things that they do in the community. We want to make sure that you know that they are empowering parents and empowering professionals as well. So as Natasha mentioned earlier in the beginning of the session, log on to the 0to3.org website for more information. Download the handouts before we end, please. If you have difficulty downloading them, please email us and we will make sure that you get them. And if you have any questions about the session or comments about the session, please share with us now in the chat. And if not, if you think of something later on, here are our email addresses. And again, we are happy to hear from you. Send us some strategies you might be using in the classroom, something maybe that you learned here today with us that you are going to implement that's new. We would love to hear from you and what you have to share. So we thank you and we applaud you again for spending your Monday evening with us. It has been a pleasure having you with us tonight. Natasha?
Again, thank you for joining us. And until we meet again, just think about the biggest problem we communicate, we listen to what? To understand, and we and not to reply, right? We have to understand, intentionally listening.
Right. Very well
For
said.
joining us. And I'm gonna practice that as well.
Yeah. Good. We're gonna be more intentional about
more
that.
intentional. Yes.
Awesome. A round of applause for
Thank you
everyone.
for joining us. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next month, next 2 weeks.
Yes, November 16th is Unit 4, the first part of Unit 4, which is going to be on executive functioning. Okay, so see you all then. Please log into the website for the calendar so you can register. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome. Good night, everyone. Thank you. It was great.
Everyone.
I love this presentation.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.